Yes, I am. How y'all doing?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Someone throw a virtual card in there for me. I want to win something. I'm the AV dude. I take photos and videos for of all kinds throughout the city of Lincoln.
Oh, who's going to throw that in for him? Write his name on the back, John?
No, sure, John.
That's nice.
John.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. What a nice group.
Is Michael?
Yeah.
So
Well, no. Not John.
I crossed it out.
John, I trust you 100%. I've known John a long time.
In spite of that.
Yeah. John, you're a keeper. I don't care what anybody in here says. He is a good guy.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Deborah Floodhop, and I'm the Assistant Director at the Focus Suites here at the Entrepreneurship Center. And it's my pleasure to be Lori back here with us this morning with Coach2Win.
Yes.
And I'm very excited to hear
Oh,
your story.
thank
So,
you.
share with us what brought you here.
Awesome. Well, you know, I'm past COVID now, so I'm ready to get back in and connect with people. And I liked the questions that came out, so I gave it a lot of thought about, wow, you tell your story, and I really want my story I want you to be able to live your story and what I'm going to share with you today. And as I reflected on if I could title the name of my story, it would be the story of not what is, but it would be the story of what can be. And it has been like that really for me my whole life. And so today I'm going to share just a few things that are part of my story of what is and then what can be and how I became a successful coach. So my question to you right now is, in the statement of what is and what can be, where are you living your life at? Are you living your life in what you see, what you think is? Do you spend most of your time there? Or are you more on the side of, I love to sit and dream and think about the things that can be? So the next 10 minutes, I'm going to share with you how I've been living my life in that. Some of you in here know me. Some of you know me from a certain place in my life, maybe not really what is or how I even became a coach. So through this process, I'm going to give you 4 things that are going to matter to you today. That's going to help you think a little bit different, maybe, about what can be instead of what is. And so there's pathways. The first one is I'm going to give you the question that changed everything for me. I'm also going to give you a quote that I never forget and I live my life by. I'm going to tell you what my personal goal is. And I'm going to help reveal why the answers are actually in the questions. Think about that. The answers are really in the questions. So number 1, what question changed my life that I hope you put on in your life and ask yourself, who would I be if the world didn't tell me who I am? Who would I be if the world didn't tell me who I should be? That question really did change my life. Prior to being a coach, I had 8-year experience working at the Walmart Corporation. I did everything from part-time hourly to soft lines to hiring all the new people at the Beatrice store when it was first built to then becoming the district assistant where I helped the district manager with approximately 9 stores. And we did things like training and development and making sure that each store was adequate on what they call their dashboard. And I did P&Ls and I rounded up budgets. And so I got to do such a variety of things in business. And when I left that position, the world kept telling me, Laura, you're so good at that. You should just go, you should go somewhere else. You should be an executive assistant. That's what you're great at. That's what the world told me, or people in the world. And at the time, that's what it was. But then I started to think, well, if I could be anything I wanted to be, do anything that I wanted to do that complemented my strengths and gifts, it would be business life coaching. Why? Because I have loved business. I managed a clothing store right out of high school. I did not attend college. I've loved business. I've been a student of business my whole life. And I love the people that make business work. And so the world also told me, you can't really make good money unless you have a college degree. Now, I'm not bagging on college degrees. I'm just saying that I was told that most of my life. That is what is. But that is not what could be. And so the second thing was a quote that I live by. It's my favorite quote. I go back to it over and over and over again as a reminder of what could be. The more you tie your worth and identity to what you've done, what you're doing, or what you're going to do, the less you become. Think about that. I learned something in the process of becoming a coach, honestly, that I did tie my identity and my worth up in a lot of things. I'm a mother of 5. I have my 16th grandchild coming into the world yet this year. I'll have, by the end of this year, I know, right? And I'll have 3 great grandchildren by the end of this year. And so I learned that it didn't really matter what I do or what I've done, that my worth is, and my identity is not wrapped up in it. So what is it wrapped up in? It's wrapped up in the becoming, which takes me to my personal goal. My personal goal is always to become more, not do more, become more. And if you think about the doing more, how often do we think, I just need to work harder, I just need to do more, I need to be involved in this and that. And so oftentimes we walk away from the one great thing that, for me, my Creator had set out for me to do. And you can do that by doing a lot of good things. But do the good things keep you from doing the great? So becoming more, how did I do that? So what I want to share with you is there's 5 steps, but today, for the sake of time, I'm only going to walk through 1 step with you because it's how I became more. And I hope that you step into this. I know you don't. You like me, and sure, it's interesting to hear my story. And honestly, I went from making $14 to $15 an hour to creating a 6-figure coaching business within 5 years. But it wasn't about doing more. It was about becoming. So I'm going to give you some becoming questions. And I hope that you write them down. I hope you tuck them away. First off, what would you really love to achieve? Not because the world tells you to, but it's just something that's been inside of you probably since you were maybe a small child. What would you really love to achieve? Now, that question does not have to be a business-related question. One of the things that I wanted to achieve was to be a great wife and a great mother, right, to my 5 beautiful children. Leaving a legacy of love behind is my most prized achievement. in my life. So number one, figure out what you want to achieve. And then ask yourself these questions. Number one, do I have a master plan? Do I even know what a master plan will look like? What gaps, what don't I know about my master plan? And who could I ask to help? Number two, this is big, huge, right off the Pretty Woman. When you think about achieving what can be, not what it is, but what it can be, what do you really believe to be true about achieving it? What do you think about it? Do you think, I can do this? Or do you think, I'm not enough? You have to examine, in order to become more, you have to understand, where do I really think? What do I really believe? So whether it's true or not, it's your truth. That's the premise that we play from, right? What do I really believe about achieving that? Number two, what assumptions do I have? You all know what assume means, right? I can't repeat it because we're recorded. And I have a legacy I have to, protect. Not only what do I assume, but what do I think other people assume? If I was really going to go for it, and I can tell you what it is when I said to my family, well, I'm going to be a business life coach. That's what I'm going to do. That's who I'm going to be. They're like, oh, what? And there's a lot of coaches in this room. So when you're out and about, if you're like me, so I've been in business now since 2009. When I first started, and John can probably really relate to this, and we say we're coaches, they'll be like, so like soccer, baseball? No. I coach business and life. And you would get this, well, how do you do that? Or it takes us a while to kind of catch up from the coast, right? And what do you want to do that for? And I had assumptions that they would think, well, you've never done anything except for be a wife, a mom, and an executive assistant, right? The assumptions, what it is. And so there were all those questions that I assumed meant they didn't believe in me. What are you assuming about the great achievements in life that you want to pursue? What do you think other people assume? And what really makes that true? Is it really true? No, sometimes there's truth to it, right? When I first started out, I'd never been a business owner before. What made me think I could be a business owner? Well, I think I was just naive enough, I think. Tethered to the clouds, as my husband would say. When you're looking at your achievement, what are the facts? Oftentimes we let feelings rule our world. And okay, so there's not a lot of men in this room. So women, I could decide I'm going to do it, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it, I'm not going to do it. And that'd be all within the first 5 minutes of my life. Why? Because I'm a woman and it is my right to change my mind. Right? So I always think about feelings, or like the big pink elephant that we climb onto and ride. And it's a big thing to have to navigate and hang on to. You have to learn the facts so you can be the rider who's in command of the feelings. Research. If I was to really pursue that, what don't I know? What do I need to know? What do I need to research? Right? This is all becoming more. The more we open up, the more we lay things down, the more we see what our perspective is and what the shift is, the closer we are to becoming the person who can do more. Situation. What is the situation? Now, so for me, I know this doesn't happen to any entrepreneur in this room. I have to replace my income. As a coach, so I had an income, I had benefits, I had paid vacation, I had all of those things. And what's the situation? Well, the situation is I got to make X, Y, Z just to replace my income. Okay. That's what it is. What can it be? Right? I also was told in the situation that in order to be considered a real coach, a real business owner, a real successful person, I had to have my own office. I rented an office space with 0 clients. In 30 days, paid for my overhead. But I had a plan. I didn't think about what is. I thought what it could be. And that was even though my husband said, I will help you for the first 6 months. Like, we'll let you give it a run, Lori, for the first 6 months. What's the situation? So humor me in this part, whether you agree or you disagree. As a woman, the other thing that came out was, well, this is kind of a good old boys space. How are you going to be successful in that space? Is that what it is? Well, yeah, it definitely. What could it be? Well, I just removed the glass ceiling. I don't have a glass ceiling. That's what could be. And so maybe I had to play a little different, but gosh, who I became in the process of not becoming a victim of glass ceiling thinking was huge for me. I needed to become more in that space. I chose not to believe there was truth in that. And I went from having a local Lincoln business to a business all over the United States, almost all 50 states I've had a client in, plus Australia, Canada, and Hawaii. That's what could be, because I chose not to have a glass ceiling. But I will tell you, because some of that it is, caused me to think bigger. What could be if that weren't there? How do I need to shift? How do I need to become more? Well, I believed that I could do that. And I set a plan in place to get outside of Lincoln, Nebraska. Options. Last question. Anytime you're doing anything, take whatever fear you have, whatever failure you've had in the past, take it off the table and just put options on it. What are all of my options? Now, I love this space, because if you understand brain science at all, what we do as human beings, human nature, is we build canals in our brain, which I call experiences. Every time we experience something, we build a canal. The canal is what I remembered the experience as. What happened? What did I do? Was it a success or was it a failure, right? How did I feel about that? And when something else comes up again that's similar, because we've already built that channel or that canal, we just very easily go there. And this is why I love what are all my options? Because what it does is it shifts our brains out of the same old stuff into what could be. What could be? And so those are some of the top questions in when I know I need to become more that I actually walk through. I've been doing it for years, and I love it. And so my hope for you is, as I put those out, I hope you were thinking about your story. I hope you were thinking about what could be for you. And I hope you were thinking like this. It isn't just what it is. It is what it can be. And that's my story.
Thank you so much, Lori. I know well, most of you know Lori. Do you have any questions or comments for her? Oh, John, I know you do.
John still loves school.
Given the transition post-COVID that's going on, and I don't know the age sphere that you are involved in coaching, type coaching. Yeah. How do you see what would be going forward, if you will, or in terms of whole social cultural from the realignment? Now, I'm guessing you don't change your basic premises, but how do you see yourself applying your ideas?
That's a multifaceted, brilliant question. I'll give you one example that comes up often especially with employers who are employing what we call our Gen Zs or millennials. And so the what is we play defense in that place, right? We're always playing defense, which means I'm showing up trying not to lose, but I'm not showing up to win. So in that facet of some of the Gen Zs that I get the distinct honor and privilege to work with, I'm telling you, they are brilliant people who get the shaft. What could be is what's frustrating the employers and getting them to shift in how do they think, how do they work, and how can you shift the dynamics of your business to support that. So I have, my youngest is 27, lives here in Lincoln. He's lived here in Lincoln for about 5-6 years. He still to this day, anytime he's going to go anywhere, when he gets into his car, he uses his GPS, right? We laugh at that because we had to learn to read a map. We had to, right? So we learned how to create or what's the next step. Now I'm getting to your answer, honestly, John, right? You have to play offensively. So I just helped a company here in town create an app for their Gen Zs. Because Gen Zs are smart and they're brilliant. And the way they think about growing a business and creating momentum, it's steroids. My mouth drops open a lot working with them. But how they've been trained to work is, because what employers say is, well, they do the one thing I tell them to do, and then they just stand there. They did it, and they're done, and they just stand there. And I have to tell them what's next. And I'm like, yes, because that is how they have learned. That is how their brain is wired, right? They'll be exceptional. So I help them. We talked about app. We gathered a focus group of the Gen Zs and said, what do you need? Well, so they created an app. You've got to be willing to what can be. Well, the Gen Zs can create business like crazy and they love it. But if we keep telling them that you're not, like, you guys are the dumbest generation, blah, blah, blah. I mean, they get the shaft all the time. So playing, that's really how I'm shifting and moving, is helping business owners and companies think more, how do we play offensively? How do we win at this game? And you have to look at the dynamics of who you have. And it does mean sometimes you have to change your culture a little bit, or you add something to your environment. So, because I love the saying, the environment always wins. So John, to answer the question is, I help people figure out what does a winning environment look like?
Gen Zs want to
They do.
come on Tuesday. I've been reading for Tim Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Gen Zs are, well, one, they're looking for truth. They're hunted with all of
Yep.
track.
Yep.
Two, they want to trust it.
Yep.
Three, they want you to get.
Yeah. They want to be mentored. They want to be, they're so hungry for it. But these apps are just like, that's how they navigate. So the company put together an app and they're winning. And their Gen Zs are winning. They feel great. And, you know, they're also used to getting kudos when they do things, right? So instead of like, oh, why do you, right, yeah. Why do you really need that? Well, we can play defense and go, well, that's really stupid and you just need to pull it by the bootstraps. They didn't learn to navigate life that way. So, you know, that's one of the things is no matter what changes in this world, in our society, we have to be willing to make shifts and changes with it without letting go of what we value and honor in our life, right? So I hope that answered your. It was a really brilliant question. I felt like there was more than one question in there.
So you talked about that they wanted, but you just said they wanted to.
Yeah, they do.
Under apps because
Right.
it's in their mind, it's not always a go.
Right. Yeah, they are. Yeah. They do, like when I talk about becoming more with young people, they're like, they light up. They light up because they see things so much faster than what I do, right? So honestly, I mentor them, but I give them the reins so many times. Like to ask them, like, what do you really want to achieve? Like, what would excite you? And here's another question: is oftentimes what companies do is they come in with their mission statement, right? And they say, here's our company mission statement. And they talk about it, and they're like, why can't I get everybody on this mission statement? Well, that's because when's the last time you asked them, after you've gone through the mission statement, how does this mission apply to you personally, right? We're in an experience culture that people want to experience. And so if you don't integrate what experiences that people want to have, and they all want to be a part of something. Like, who likes to go to a game? Who likes to go to a game when they lose every game? Right? Why don't we enjoy that?
Because we're not willing to learn.
Possibly. Why is it that a team that has suddenly become successful, like I can see this, I came from a small high school, and a couple of the years I was there, we went to state, and we all of a sudden, the auditorium was packed. It was standing room only for those games, where prior years there would be all kinds of pick your seat, right? Why is that? Because people want to be a part of something that's winning, but they have to see how they're a part of the win. So with the missions, like, how does this mission, how do you see your life playing into this mission and create something for them to be proud of? Good question. He's like, yeah, long answer, Laura. I didn't want to know that much about it. What? Oh.
So when you started expanding into different states, you said that you kind of started out local. Was that through kind of osmosis, through referrals? Did you have a specific plan that you said, no, I want to go to a conference in this state and expand here?
I never traveled. That was part of my plan. What do I want? What do I want to achieve? So I was already very acclimated to virtual way before COVID. That wasn't anything new to me. And I did everything referral. Everything was referral. And I would just ask, I just had questions that I went through. If I did a good job for someone and they loved it and they were willing to refer, I would have them pop on, invite whoever whoever they thought would be interested in what I did, and I would invite them in, and they would do a little virtual testimony, and I would describe what I did, and they would ask me questions. And that's how and it just went crazy. Even into the first year of COVID, I had a wait list. So it just, once you get that going, and I also make my clients part of my mission, right? They're part of the ripple effect. They're part of changing this world. They're part of helping people step into what can be. And they love it. Good question. What's my next can be? Well, I'm in a little shift right now, John. So, business does that, right? So my next big can be is I'm actually teaching a class. So there needs to be, every coach in this room, do you think there's enough coaches in the world to help people? Right? We've not even scratched the surface. So my next big can be, John, and thank you for asking, is I'm actually teaching a class on any manager, any leader, anyone who is leading a team of people need this class. Why? Because coaching, every coach in this room will tell you this, there's skill sets. And every person that is leading a team of people need to level up in their skill sets. So I'm teaching a class on the 5 steps to coaching people better. And I just rolled that out a couple months ago, and I have 2 full classes. And I love it, and they love it. It's so cool to see their ahas go off because they really care about their people, but they're like, I can't get my people to move. I can't, why? And they're so frustrated, and they're burned out. And it's fun to put some skill sets on the table for them. And then they go flourish. I'm not worried, like, somebody said, well, won't they take your job? I hope so. And then I hope because they've become a better leader that more people desire to learn how to do that. So there's not enough of us. There's just not. But yes, that's the next big thing, John, is teaching.
How did you get your very first client that very first month after you?
Oh boy, you got to take me back to 2009. Actually, Vicki Drew, a young lady by the name of Vicki Drews, she's some bigwig at a nonprofit. John, do you remember what nonprofit she's in? It's like it's sort of like City Mission, but it's the Catholic. Is it Matt Talbot?
It could have been City.
It might be. I joined a B&I group. She was in a B&I group, and started with her, and then the word just got out. And she's one that actually through coaching figured out that being in a nonprofit was her thing. Yep. So it was so fun to watch her grow and expand through the years. Good questions.
We ask everybody this.
Okay.
What keeps you perked up and motivated?
People. People really keep me perked up and motivated, and especially people who are what is possible. I love gathering and talking with people who are, what can we do? Right? What's possible? What do people really need? And how can we come alongside and partner with that? And that perks me up. That and my grandkids and my kids. So, yeah. Yeah, I start baking the cookies or cupcakes, or I got grandkids coming. They'd be so disappointed if Grandma didn't have something, right?
Do you have a favorite local business or local restaurant?
Let's see. Man, I have so many. I'm probably going to have to go with restaurant. I would say Laszlo's. And I love their salmon. Like, we walk in, he could order for me every time. He's like, Lori, don't you try anything new? No, because I don't want to be disappointed. I know what I like. I would say Laszlo's. Yeah. Thank you.
Being that you and I both have great grandchildren, how are they transferring their legacy?
Well, they watch Grandma. I often give, especially my older grandchildren, books. Recently, 2 granddaughters, one just turned 16 and one will be 16 in September. And I ran across a book called The Story of With. If you're a believer and you love a good story, The Story of with Alan Arnold is the author. It's so good. It's just so good. And I bought both of them that book, and along with it, I gave them a journal. And I just, with the book said, the journal is for you to write in there every dream you have that you want to do with God. And so I also give them money because they all like to, I'm like, I'm not going to go shop. I'm not a shopper. I hate shopping. Believe it or not, I don't care for it. I always feel like, they have so many other things that I'd rather give something that they'll always remember Grandma by, and I always write a message.
Amazon Prime became, I know.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Make me feel like a terrible grandparent.
It's not what it is. It's what it can be.
There's a book called Who Pooped in the Park.
Well, I suppose that's good. Well, there you go. But so listen, but the thing is it's about creating, yeah. You know what? I might actually adopt that one. I got some grandsons that would love that. Yeah. It's about creating the memory, right? And the experience. It's like they just want your time. They don't. So I'll go get on the floor. I have a harder time getting up off the floor now than I used to, but I'll just take time just do it. And I have a couple grandsons who love bugs. I'm not really a big bug person personally, but I will go out and I will do the bug thing. I just have one rule: they can't come in the house, but we can collect all the bugs. So last year we had, did anybody know what the Japanese beetles are? Well, my grandson, they would come over. I'd send them out with they each had a little bowl of water with Dawn dish drop in it, and they were to go out and they would flick the Japanese. So kind of matches your scat story a little bit. They probably scatted too, but they're a little too young for the scat stuff. Yeah.
These are like 5 and these.
Okay, well, I have some about that age, but the whole poop thing, just saying, I would be, I might send Grandpa out for the scat thing, but I think that's awesome. I love the book. I'm probably look that one up.
I hate to change topics, but
Sure you do.
when it comes to individual coaching and group coaching, which you've done both, would you just kind of touch on, benefits of either, and if somebody's looking for a coach, of, kind of what they would find maybe in either one?
Yeah. Really good question. It really depends on the person, where they're at, and what they're needing. And so I do a discovery free of charge with every person, and so I can kind of help identify alongside them of what do they really need. And so, of course, the private is maybe when they don't have as much clarity and they really need that one-on-one developing. I would not put them in a group until after they have done some personal coaching. And then I have some that come on that they've had, maybe they've created some great success and they're ready for the next. And really what they need is they need to be around people who are like-minded, that they can kind of bounce things off of and be encouraged by. Those usually I will fit into some kind of a group or team session. Did that answer your question? I don't like being a cookie cutter. Yeah, I like it. Everything I do is individualized because we're all uniquely different and we all have different needs, and even how we're receptive to learning is different from person to person. So, but good question. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
You guys have been great. I love the questions.
Well, thank you so much for being here again.
Yes.
And we look forward to hopefully seeing you again.
Yeah, absolutely. Good group.
Thank you, everybody, for
Drawing.
Oh, yes, the drawing.
Do you want to draw?
Yeah.
Now listen, you might have to draw twice just to make sure John's. I'm just teasing. You go ahead and draw. John Radway.
Draw again.
That's so funny. Then we'll know, John.
Carla.
Okay, can I unhook myself or can I walk with this?
You can walk with it. Yep.
I'm going to walk with it. There you go. You're welcome. I'll look forward to talking to you.
Well, thank you, everybody, again for being here. We have, now that we're in the June, we will meet until the last Thursday in June, whatever that date is, and then we will take a break in July, and then we'll be back in August.
There's also donuts.
Oh, yes, there's donuts, there's more coffee. Feel free to stick around and chat, and we will see you next week.
Awesome. Thank you, Brooke. Can I shut this off now?